What's up, guys? It's Mercules. We're going to start off with the Raid Exotic, which is the Necrochasm. It is a low-impact auto rifle. It's basically my new favorite gun to use in the Crucible on smaller maps. It's actually close to what I hoped it would be when it was first released, back when everybody was super hyped up about it. And that's because it comes out of the box with high stability and aim assist, and even a pretty good recoil direction, which for a 102 auto rifle is almost unheard of. That means it handles really, really easily, and on top of that, it's got a combination of Zen Moment and fitted stock. So I basically have no problem running Accurized Ballistics, which gives me bonus range and bonus damage, which means that it actually has surprisingly long reach as well for a 102 auto rifle. You could also choose Aggressive Ballistics, which decreases the time to kill by about 2 frames, bringing it down from 0.87 optimal to 0.8 optimal, but it kills the aim assist, it kills the range, it kills the stability, and so honestly I don't think it's worth it. Similarly, you could choose CQB Ballistics, which makes the gun more stable, but it takes away a pretty hefty chunk of range and you won't get any bonus impact, so I don't really like that one either. The Cursebringer perk procs on all kills now, and basically it's a huge help in the Crucible. It's so easy to get assists, to get collaterals, just by killing someone, regardless of whether it's a headshot or not. You don't have to worry about that. And I almost don't want to recommend this weapon because I hate the idea of giving away the secret, but I do feel an obligation to share the joy with the world, so give it a shot, and you'll probably find that you absolutely love it in PvP. Moving on, we're going to go to the Oversoul Edict. That's a pulse rifle in the very low impact class. If it had been brought back a couple of months ago, it would have been extremely popular in the Crucible. It's a member of the Clever Dragon archetype, but it did manage to escape the magazine-size nerf that Clever Dragon and Grasp of Malak were hit with. But unfortunately, it still suffered the burst delay nerf, which added a frame in between each burst, basically. Like most guns in the archetype, the base aim assist is high, but the range, recoil direction, and stability are all pretty bad. It's more useful in the Crucible than a lot of other Crota Zen weapons, but it is burdened by something that many of the raid legendaries are, which is the fact that they lose a perk slot to a raid-centric perk that does not do anything in PvP. So it has the ability to shoot through Hive Knight shields, but this takes up the final perk slot, which means you basically just wasted a perk. The other 3 options are decent. It's got red dot OAS for a sight, which is probably the best sight for pulse rifles, so that's a definite plus. And then it's got full auto, which is really, really fun on a gun with a rate of fire this high. But the middle column, the choices kind of suck. It's snapshot or fitted stock. Neither one of those are great. I'd probably go with fitted stock for the small boost of stability, which gives you a little bit tighter burst pattern, but you know, some people like snapshot. They like the faster ADS speed. That's really up to you. Either way, it's a decent gun for PvP, but I'd stay away from highly competitive game modes and maybe just use it in 6s. The hand cannon is the Word of Crota. It's one of the low-impact hand cannons, and it's actually one of the few Crota Zen weapons that doesn't have to give up a perk slot for a raid-centric perk. And it's got a pretty interesting set of perks outside of that, too. It's got Sure Shot, which is the best sight for hand cannons, and then it has Zen Moment and Explosive Rounds. And I've heard that Explosive Rounds, because it does 2 little ticks of damage, actually procs Zen Moment twice per bullet, which means that this is a great, great combination. I've never tested that myself, but I've heard that, and it does seem to make sense. In the last slot, we've got something called Phantom Gift, which is basically just the year 1 precursor to triple tap. It works the exact same way. It's not really a huge help. The gun has a base magazine size of 12, which is monstrous, so you're not really going to need it. If you like the Aya's Luna, even though this gun is in a different archetype, it has very similar recoil direction and low aim assist, which means if you like the way the Aya's Luna feels when it's firing, this gun is probably going to float your boat as well. But it actually has high stability and a faster rate of fire, so you can spam it a little bit more like the Last Word, which is pretty cool. Now, the Scout Rifle, Fang of Ear Ute, is actually one of the guns I'm most excited about using in the Crucible, even though it's a really bad archetype for Crucible play. It's got a very, very slow time to kill, 1 second flat, but it's super easy to use. 2 crits, 2 bodies is all you need. And it's got an amazing, amazing perk set. It's got a perk called Target Mark, which when you damage a target, literally marks them for a few seconds. And I've been told, even though I haven't actually seen anyone else using it, I've been told that your teammates can see the mark too, which is really, really cool. Combine that with Third Eye, which is in the last slot, and you've basically got a poor man's Keen Scout on your primary weapon. I'm really looking forward to using this one again. And then the middle column, we have either high caliber rounds or perfect balance. Either one of those is going to work. I'd probably go with high caliber rounds because you're kind of relying on making your enemy miss to survive. But if you don't want that much kick, perfect balance is there too. Sight-wise, True Sight is probably what you're going to choose. It's not a fantastic perk for a Scout Rifle, but it's an okay one. It'll be decent enough. You do get a little bit of aim assist for it. Moving on to the auto rifle, it's the Abyss Defiant. Auto rifles just got buffed, which is kind of tempting to take Abyss Defiant out for a spin, but the honest truth is it's pretty much just a middle-of-the-road auto rifle. Good aim assist, poor stability and recoil direction, average range. It's got pretty decent perks, red dot OAS, perfect balance, hip fire, but then you're wasting the last perk with like bane or whatever it is. And long story short, there are better guns to use than Abyss Defiant and Crucible. I probably wouldn't take that one in. As for shotguns, we're going with Swordbreaker. Swordbreaker used to be the absolute witch's tits back in year one, and unfortunately, since it's so easy to get void secondaries now, when back in the day, legendaries were actually pretty hard to come by, it's not really that great. It's a low impact, high rate of fire shotgun, and it doesn't have a great perk set. Accurized Ballistics, Grenadier, either Hammer Forged or Lightweight, and then Final Round. It's really just not tremendous. It might be good to use in the raid or in some PvE activities where there are void shielded enemies, but that's pretty much it. I'd stay away from it other than that. The Fusion Rifle, Light of the Abyss, is very, very low impact. In fact, the lowest of the low impact, and actually so much so that I would totally stay away from this for PvP. It only does 33 damage per bolt, which means it takes 7 bolts to kill fully armored targets, which is basically going to be impossible to hit in the majority of engagements. So just stay away from it. The perks aren't bad. True Sight IS or Red Dot RS1, either one of those. Remember that Fusion Rifle scopes do not change zoom, so they're both 1.5 times zoom. Crowd Control, then Skip Rounds, Speed Reload, or Enhanced Battery, and then Hip Fire. Hip Fire is a good perk. Crowd Control is okay. Skip Rounds is funny. It's just not a great gun. It's basically a troll gun, in my opinion. As for the rocket launcher, Hunger of Crota, it's actually pretty good. If you want to use a legendary rocket launcher in the raid, you're probably going to want to use Hunger of Crota. It's the same archetype as the old Iron Banner's Tormod's Bellows, which means that it's got faster velocity than it does blast radius. And in PvP, it's not great. It doesn't have grenades and horseshoes. It doesn't have tripod. But it does have the second best perks in each of the slots, which is tracking and cluster bombs. Basically, it's going to be fantastic for PvE content, and it's going to be challenging to use, and I would probably avoid it for PvP. Maybe if you want to troll control, there you go. But if you want troll control and like just obliterate a capture point that some people are on, or maybe use it in combined arms versus vehicles, it might be good, but I'd stick with PvE. The machine gun is called the Song of Irut. It's a very low impact machine gun. It's got a massive magazine size, 87, but the rest of the perks are pretty terrible. Awful range, awful stability, bad recoil direction, low inventory, only average aim assist. It has an okay perk set, Smart Drift Control, Grenadier, high caliber rounds, and then we waste another perk with Darkbreaker in the last one. This is the type of gun that it's basically just going to spray all over the place. It might be funny. It might be nice to have a gun that has a magazine that size for PvE content, but I just can't see using it in the Crucible environment at all unless you're really trying to handicap yourself. So there you go, guys. Those are all the Crota's end weapons. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. If you're looking for more, please remember to like, favorite, and subscribe to Destiny Tracker on YouTube. This has been Merculeus from Destiny Massive Breakdowns, and thank you for listening. Bye.